live from parts unknown. You're listening to Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Podcast, the only wrestling podcast on the planet, we think. Sit back, relax, prepare for positivity to run through your veins as Simon Miller gives you your weekly dose of powerful pro wrestling audio. It is Miller Time.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Podcast with me, Simon Miller. And as you know, it's a very special episode for two reasons. One, a lot of people have tweeted me this at SimonMiller316 saying, Simon, where's the SmackDown review episode from last week? Well, you can watch it on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Miller Report Rules. However, there were some issues with SoundCloud. I won't lie, I got fed up with trying to make it work. So I thought, you know what, it was only about 20 minutes anyway because nothing happened on SmackDown last week. So I thought what I'll do is we'll leave that. I can use that as a, go over to my YouTube channel to watch it. And we'll do a special episode here. And it's special for two reasons. Because A, not only are we going to talk about, we're going to preview basically Raw 25 and try and work out what's going to happen with that. But also on the line, I've got a very special guest. He is... well, I'm going to say, I hope he's a proud supporter of the Simon Miller Patreon, patreon.com/Simon316. Yeah, imagine you said, no, I hate it. I don't want to do it. It's my friend Daniel. How you doing, Daniel? You all right?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm great, but I'm always great. It's just a
That's
lie.
True.
It's just lies. It's just the whole perception is reality. Deep down, I'm just, a sad mess of a man. But I've realised to make it, you've got to fake it. No, I'm kidding. That's an incredible, depressing thing to say. I'm joking. But yes, Daniel was very kind, and he has supported me on Patreon, and you can do it too. If you want to come on and talk to me about wrestling, you can do it. All the information is at patreon.com/SimonMiller316. Now, Daniel, we've had a chat, and we've decided we want to talk about Raw 25, and we're going to do that, and we'll segue all over the place. But at the same time, it's good to know how you wound up in the world of fake sports. So what was it? How on earth why did you decide to fall in love with WWE and then probably regret it every day for the rest of your life?
True. Yeah, that's true. I have a really weird way. So the first ever memory I have is Rikishi and Too Cool dancing in the Royal Rumble 2000.
I remember that. Yeah, and then Rikishi decided to screw him over and he threw him over the top rope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
So basically, wrestling was banned in my house.
Why? You power drive someone, didn't you? You power drive somebody into the floor.
I jumped off a shed onto my cousin.
Wow, dude, that's insane.
It was on a trampoline, so it wasn't as bad, I guess.
Well, I don't know. You're jumping off shit. Was that like Mick Foley inspired?
No, it was a swanton.
Wow, good thing you did. Did you have any injuries, or did you walk around unscathed?
I was fine, but
Your friend was dead.
Yeah, he dislocated his shoulder.
Right, and now I can see why wrestling was banned in your house.
That's true.
Okay, so wrestling gets banned. What do? Did you do what I used to do when you used to just watch it, and then used to close the living room door, and then as soon as somebody walked in, you just changed the channel, and sometimes it would wind up on the most obscure program ever. You'd be like, "Yeah, I'm just watching politics.
Yeah.
12 years old, just watching politics, Dad."
That's exactly what happened.
That's brilliant. I love it. Did you?
Basically. So my uncle on my mum's side is a lot younger than the rest of the grown-ups. I say that I'm 20 now.
Yeah.
I can't keep calling them grown-ups.
Dude, I'd kill to be 20 right now. So you just keep living that dream.
That's true. So he's 13 years younger than my mum.
Yeah.
So when I was 5, he was my age basically. So I was round his house. And I was 5 years old, and it was 2002, and it was actually the week before the Rumble. So he was just watching old Rumbles, and he had Royal Rumble 2000 on VHS.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to watch the actual Rumble match. So he just skipped to that. And like I said, that was the first memory I have. And I just watched that entire match and was like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I was just like, whoa, what is this? I then asked him if we could watch the entire show, and then it obviously had Triple H, Cactus Jack.
Oh man, yeah.
So I saw that, and then in my head I was comparing that to I just watched a really large man dance in a thong.
That's wrestling.
That's basically what I learned very quickly. So I was like, okay, this is weird and I like it. But then 2 years later, when I was 7, I attacked my friend. So it was banned. So for most of my life, I had to just kind of, like you said, sneakily watch it at 1 a.m.
Was it ever unbanned eventually?
It was when I turned 14.
Wow, it's a 7-year ban. That's a long ban.
Yeah.
It's 7 years bad luck if you break a mirror. So
Yeah,
what,
exactly.
what was it that made your parents go, you know what, you're back. It's okay. We trust you now not to kill your friends.
Basically, I just kind of kept doing it, and they were like,
You gave up.
That sounds like I was in prison. It's not what I mean. I just mean that like I was obsessed with it, and my uncle also. Whenever I went to his, we watched it. I had the games. They allowed me to play the games,
That's weird.
which was very weird.
Well,
It was like,
I guess it's kind of different. I kind of understand that.
I get it's like you don't get to watch it, but you get to control them doing it. That's
exactly.
fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think my uncle might have said something. It was just like, look, I watched it and I'm fine. So just let your son do it. And then I have a younger brother who was also getting into it at the same time. So they were just kind of like, right, do anything you want.
Go kill each other. And there you go. And then you were let off the leash, and here we are 6 years later. And actually, I'm intrigued because my big break from wrestling came when I went to university. Just because I didn't have, I guess it's different now. When I went to university, like the internet even wasn't that big a thing. So, I mean, it was, but it was not what it was today. So I guess that's what's different because I couldn't even try to, keep up with results through the internet. I mean, you could do it. But I remember when I went to university, pay-per-views were on Channel 4. That's how long ago I went.
Yeah.
I guess,
I remember that when I was like 7.
Yeah, well, yeah, let's not get into it. But yeah, I guess because of the way the world is now, it's very easy to keep up with pro wrestling when you go away to university. So it's not really something you have to stop watching.
Yeah, so like I now have like the Fight TV app for like Ring of Honor and stuff like that, and then I have the network. So I just basically just get to sit in my room and watch wrestling.
Man, that is the dream. I mostly sat in my room and played Monkey Island 2. So
that's amazing.
But not because it just come out, by the way. Someone may have just gone, wait a minute. No, it'd been out for a long time. That's just what I chose to do with my university hours. Well, there you go. It's good to know. I always find it intriguing because it is such a funny thing just to stumble across because it's not like you're just going to be watching TV. You either had to be introduced to it or it kind of grabs you as you are flicking through the channels. You're like, what the flip is this nonsense?
Yeah.
Do you have like a favourite wrestler of all time or somebody you gravitated towards?
Yeah, so very quickly, the first wrestler I ever remember liking was Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, well, that explains your Swanton Bomb.
Yeah. I really, really remember just like, it was a match, I think it was his match with Taker.
The ladder
on
match.
TV.
Yeah.
I saw that, and no, I liked Undertaker. So the Undertaker was my uncle's favourite wrestler.
Right.
So he was like, right, watch this. And he didn't care about Jeff. But I was like, whoa, look at this guy just like doing mental flips. And I just loved it. And then throughout his career, so I got back into wrestling in 2008 when he won the title.
Okay.
So that like changed.
Cemented it, I guess, right?
Yeah. So I came back. I had left and he was just getting into, not the main event scene, but kind of the upper mid-card scene. And then I come back and he's winning the WWE title.
Yeah. What a rise.
But then also, exactly. And then there's also the cliche of Shawn Michaels. Because I missed his run between like when he came back in 2002. And I like missed all that, but I went back and watched it. And was just like, oh, he's just the best. He's just the best.
Yeah, but he did screw Bret Hart.
That's true.
I don't think I've ever mentioned this on this podcast, but as he's been brought up, because I remembered this the other day, Shawn Michaels has blocked me on Twitter, and I have absolutely no idea why. I have no idea why. I went through all my What Culture videos to try and figure out if I'd never said one bad thing about him. So I'm like, what did he block me for? I really don't know. If anybody doesn't want to, they don't mind risking being blocked by Shawn Michaels, if you could ask him, why he blocked? Yeah, well, he may block you though. I don't. You love him. He's like one of your favorites. I don't want him to block you. Well, that may
I'll risk it.
That's very kind. That's very kind. Well, I just want to know. I think all my videos are all very positive. So I can't believe. I mean, sometimes I do drop out that you screwed Bret thing. Maybe it's that he just doesn't. He doesn't want to hear it. I do love Bret Hart. Okay, so we'll transition into present day. We are, as we record this, we're hours away from Raw 25. As my WWE app told me today, apparently Raw 25 in the UK happened at 1 a.m. this morning. So thanks for that,
that's
WWE.
What happened to me as well.
It's like, no, you're 24 hours off. It's terrible, isn't it? I mean, come on. But other than that, no, we are. And I still can't work out what the even damn running time is. Because some people told me there's an hour pre-show on the network, and then we're doing 3 hours on USA or Sky. Other people have told me there's 2 hours on the network, and no one knows. And this is the kind of stuff I get annoyed about, because I'm like, surely there should be accurate information.
Exactly.
And the other thing that I found out, I mean, I was very, very, I I wasn't paying 100% attention, I must admit. But it certainly sounded like, when I was listening to Wrestling Observer Radio the other day, that they said while Chris Jericho was advertised, at the moment they haven't even come to a deal. So
yeah, he's not on the poster. I've just seen the poster for like Raw 25, and there's everyone there who's been announced, but Jericho isn't there.
It's so weird. It's so strange because, and it's those kind of stuff. That's the stuff that irks me about WWE. I never get too really mad about booking or story because. Actually, another thing they were talking about on Wrestling Observer, but I do agree with it. I have always seen it like a story and a performance. You take these characters and you do whatever you want with them. But it's the back end stuff that does drive me nuts. Don't advertise Chris Jericho. You haven't sorted stuff out. Don't tell me that Raw 25 was at 1 a.m. this morning, and let me know how long the actual damn show is.
The fact that we have to ask this is like.
But that's the stuff that annoys me. It really, and like I said, I'm a very blessed human being, right? Like my job tomorrow will be watching Raw and reviewing it, and somebody will give me, I get set for What Culture, which is an awesome way to earn a living. However. With that said, I like to be prepared. I'm one of those kind of individuals, and I have no idea. What time do I get up? I don't know. Anyway, so I mean, I think that the worry for me, and I don't like to start on a negative point of view, but I just think is a more interesting chat to be had here, is that they've almost announced too much stuff. I don't see how they get any of these legends, which I am very excited to see, onto the show with any real gravitas, and I don't think... I want Raw 25 to be good given the hype and the build. And what I don't want is, here's 8 legends together, they're waving at the camera. I'm like, what's the point in that? I've seen these people before.
Yeah, because I think they've announced 30 people.
I mean, that's a lot of people. And it's not like you can work, even on a 3-hour show, and also it's the build to the Royal Rumble. So it's not like you can...
That's so true.
You can't sacrifice your current roster because you can't do it on SmackDown either. So, 30, let's say it's 30, right? Let's say it's 30 people that are... that need to be worked in somehow, at least, 75% of them are just going to be funny backstage segments. I don't think that adds to the show very much.
Yeah, that's true, because in previous times, where people coming back was at Raw 1000, and then also that weird segment they had where they just buried the Ascension completely.
Yeah, they did.
I don't know why that happened. It was just kind of on a random Raw.
Because that's what they do, Daniel.
But
that's what they do.
I'm really worried it's going to happen to the Revival tonight.
What do you think they do? Because they made all that song and dance.
Yeah, because they were like, we're professional wrestlers, not sports entertainers, and we're better than all the old tag teams.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
worried.
Is there a tag team on the show? I'm trying to.
The APA have been announced.
Oh no! If the APA
and the New Age Outlaws.
You know what? I don't mind if it comes out with the Revival in a position of strength. That's okay.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Surely they have to do, and surely I would like to think that the APA and the New Age Outlaws would understand that going in the other direction is really stupid.
Yeah, because surely they've learned from what happened to the Ascension. The Ascension have been really funny recently with the Fashion Files, but they haven't done anything in 3 years.
And they will be cut loose. I hate saying that, but at one point when they want to make budget cuts, they will be deemed surplus to requirements, and that's on no fault of their own. That is the position they've been put on, and therefore that's how they will feel. When you look through the roster, we can get rid of those two guys. They just do funny skits. It's like, yeah, but that's what you told them to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And they actually pulled it off very well, to be fair. So,
yeah, they were really funny.
Yeah, but that's my worry. I don't mind legends coming in. Hey, look, if it turns out that the Revival kick both of those teams' ass, great. They can run with that for ages, but I don't want... I'm not feel-good moments are all well and good, and I'm sure there are some other people that could actually be on the receiving end and get away with it. But given everything the Revival have been through, I don't think they are the team. I think, if anything, they need a bit of a shot on the arm at the moment because they had so much bad luck with injuries.
Yeah. And I think something will happen with Kurt Hawkins. He'll go, right, I'm going to lose my losing streak by taking on someone much older, and then he'll get beat.
That's fine.
And that's kind of fine.
Yeah, that's fine because... Well, it's mostly because every time I hear Kurt Hawkins in an interview, he just seems so happy. I'm like, well, I can't get mad then, man. If you're absolutely ecstatic doing what you're doing, so I don't mind that. I think it's like when Heath Slater got beat up by all those legends. So that's fine. That kind of ties in to the gimmick that you're doing. It's not like they've got a story. I think Kurt Hawkins does have an upside, but at this stage, I think I've already accepted that WWE probably won't accept that. Whereas the Revival, especially the tag team scene on both Raw and SmackDown is decent at the moment. They just need more teams. And as you've got a ready-made team in the Revival that we know, if you let them, can have potential match of the year candidates, or at least in WWE terms, I think it's silly to. They're not a team that you just throw away. I don't think. I think that'd be a really bad idea, and I don't want to see that on Raw 25. Like, I understand there'll be a few legends that we'll get into this in a second that have a purpose, and apparently a few people have also been hidden away in hidden hotels. Now, I can't think who that could be because they've announced everybody.
I've seen
Rock,
like
maybe
one. I've seen The Rock, and then have you seen the intro to Raw 25?
I'm not going to lie. I started watching it earlier, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to have to watch it." I looked at the clock; it said 4 minutes. I was like, "I'll watch it tomorrow." It's like, I know it's only 4 minutes. But I was like, "I'll watch it tomorrow. I can't be bothered." But no, I haven't. But tell me about it.
So there is one very specific individual that actually. There's very few lines in it. It's kind of just moments with JR shouting, basically.
As always.
But there is one man who gets a line. It's very short. However, his face fills the screen. He's holding his title. He drops his mic, and it's Punk saying "pipe bomb."
I don't believe it, man. I don't
either. Yeah,
I can't.
But the internet has been insane.
I just, given that Dana White recently came out, unless he's in on it and said I don't believe it. Look, I'd love it. I think everybody would love it, but I don't. I mean, he's not going to come back for a one-off, I would guess.
True.
Because I don't think that their relationship, or maybe I don't know. I don't want to say that because I don't know the. It just, I mean, who? But look, it works in the sense that if you actually think of quote unquote legends, The Rock is someone you could absolutely see being hidden away because he hasn't been announced, and he's The Rock, and you'd assume he'd want to be there because it's unlikely he's going to be at WrestleMania this year. And outside of that, Cena's there, Undertaker's there. I mean, Hulk Hogan could potentially be there, but it seems very unlikely. Given it seems silly of me to WWE to release that statement saying we stand by what we said, and then go, ha ha ha. So,
no.
Yeah, probably don't do that with a known racist. Would be my. That's not a good. Don't fool that. Just say he's there or he's not there. Don't fuck around with things. Yeah. And then outside of that, I mean, a lot of people we would like to be there have obviously passed away, which sucks, but it's true.
Yeah.
So yeah, who is hidden away? And then if you do mention Punk, you're like, well, it makes sense. There's logic there. I just can't. I can't believe it. Like, the amount of bad blood. There's a lawsuit going on. I haven't heard anything about that lawsuit coming to an end.
That's true.
So, but dude, look, you never know. Like, there's so many things that have happened. If you had told me were going to happen, I would have gone, don't be silly. So, it would make the show. That would make the
Yeah, that's so true. There's also on the Raw 25 poster. And again, this is just the internet reading into every little thing. But Brian is on it and he's in gear.
Well, look, I don't think we talked about this last week. I think it was just after. For some reason, over the last 5 days, Daniel Bryan's Raw Rumble odds have gone from 66-1 to 4-1.
Yeah.
Now, the thing with that is it's not exactly entirely, it's not evidence. Because if I go and whack on if I'm an idiot and I go whack on £1,000 now on Daniel Bryan, his odds will short on even further. So it could just be people thinking, well, I'll put £1 on that, ha ha ha. I mean, betting on wrestling is mad anyway. But look, if he's going to be in the Rumble, they absolutely have to. And I know he's at the show. They absolutely have to start that story today. Because I think if you announce that Daniel Bryan's at the Rumble and you give people more or less a week, I think they will sign up for the network. I think people will want to see that show. The only problem you have with this is why I don't think will happen. I don't think Daniel Bryan is going to win the Raw Rumble. And if you announce that Daniel Bryan is in the Raw Rumble and then he loses, it's 2015 again.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've completely tanked your own show before you've even got the show going, which is the main reason I don't think they're going to do it. Like, I mean, they could do. If there's any match that he could do without taking a bump, it's the Raw Rumble, right? All he has to do is push people over the top rope. But then, what does he do? Does he give his title shot to Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn or Nakamura? I don't know. I don't get how that would work. Hey, I'd love to see it, right? I don't want Roman Reigns to win. And on the subject of that, we'll touch on it on each of the shows, but we will do a specific Royal Rumble prediction show this week as well. But yeah, it would be much more fun and I want Nakamura to win it. I think that would do well for his character. However, from a purely oh my gosh point of view, absolutely I'd want Daniel Bryan to win it. How great would that be?
I don't think I'd complain about wrestling for the rest of the year.
Well, I would use it. If anyone ever complained, I'd throw Daniel Bryan won the Royal Rumble in their face. Like, WWE have given you a free pass. They're allowed to do whatever they want. Like, Roman Reigns is now allowed to win the Universal title WrestleMania 34.
He can win every title.
Yeah, they gave you that, so shut up. But what else do you think? I mean, because the other big story coming out is obviously it seems like the Undertaker is back.
Yes.
We'll talk about all of this now. Actually, I said we'll talk about it all now. I don't know how I feel about that because I think now it's becoming Boy Who Cried Wolf. You know,
Yeah.
like I thought the send-off last year was... And also, if he wasn't retiring, I know they didn't know at the time, they thought he was, I would never have him lost to Roman Reigns. Because now, if the plan is to have him versus John Cena at WrestleMania, it's still a great match on paper, but he's lost twice now. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
The streak is... Literally, the streak is dead. Because I always said this. I think losing twice actually still has a mystique to it. Because you're like, well, he only lost once. They wouldn't have him lose again, would they? Would. Blah, 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 blah. And you have a conversation. But now it's like, well... What's the difference between 2 and 3? There is no difference. I mean, there really isn't, apart from a number. It makes no difference.
That's really true, actually. I've never thought about that. That story, if Reigns hadn't beat him and they were going into him with Cena this year, that would have been really interesting. Like, are they going to have him lose again?
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a story within a story almost. Because you can start arguing, are they really going to have him lose again? That takes away the mystique even further. But now, of course, he could absolutely lose again. Because if he loses again, okay, well, he lost to Reigns. But actually, I don't think he will lose. I actually think if they do Cena versus Undertaker, I think the Undertaker's going to win, which is madness, all things considered. But then what do? Does he retire again afterwards? Because you can't fake it again. People just be like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, because, I mean, I obviously love The Undertaker, but let's be honest, his match last year with Reigns wasn't great.
Well, I mean, no, go on.
It's just, that's not me saying it's The Undertaker. He's awful. Obviously, I don't even know how he's still walking, to be honest.
I don't think anybody is, man. It's a strange. He's a phenom, right?
Very true.
But no, I totally agree. I don't know how he still does it. And I have all the respect in the world for the man. It's just they've put themselves in an odd predicament where, yeah, I don't know. I don't get how you end this match with pretending he's retired again, because we'll be like, don't lies.
Because also Undertaker isn't the kind of legend that you can kind of bring back and do funny backstage skits with.
Absolutely not, no. And if they do that, they've gone mental.
That's true. I mean, it is Vince. It is Vince.
Yeah. What would you like them to? I mean, obviously we've heard about all the rumors. What would you like them to do?
I don't know. It is really hard because a lot of people desperately want that match with Cena. And I was absolutely one of them. Like, I would have liked it last year. If his retirement was going to be last year, when he put down the hat and coat and kissed Michelle and stuff like that, if they were going to have that with Cena, I would have been like, that's a really good send-off. But now, like you said, they've done it with Reigns, and he just comes back. It's like, is he going to come back without a coat and his hat because he left it in the ring?
Well, dude, there's the other worry. If he comes back as that flipping biker taker...
Oh my God, they're going to do that. They're going to do that.
I swear, I will email What Culture in the morning and I'll say, I will do this for free. Please let me rant and moan about this awful... I hate that character. I hate it. And I get a lot of flack when I say that because obviously that is, for many people, the first incarnation of The Undertaker they ever knew. So that to them is The Undertaker. They can't believe I don't like it, but it's awful. It's an awful gimmick. Like, it's just... I don't know why I don't like it. I just don't. It's just stupid. But that, in a way, is how you get around him retiring last year. You have his final run as biker taker. Ugh.
And they could do a thing where it's like he wants respect from Cena, because they had a match at the Royal Rumble when he was biker taker years ago. Yeah. In like 2004, I want to say, or something like that. And so they could just do a rehash of that. But that would not be good.
I guess the way that they would justify it is it's still Undertaker versus Cena, bigger stage, blah, 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 blah. I imagine the story would be... Well, I imagine that Cena instigates it, would be my guess. I imagine that would be... I don't know why. Well, I guess because it's weird. Why would Undertaker turn up to Raw? It makes more sense for Cena like Legend versus Legend as opposed to Undertaker comes back. Because technically, you've got to talk Undertaker out of retirement, really. That should be the story.
That's true, yeah. I mean, he could just be here on Raw to announce that he's in the Rumble.
See, I actually think that's a good way to do it. I actually think a cool way to do it is Undertaker comes back and says, I want one more world title run. At least that makes sense. And then he goes to the Rumble and then Cena knocks him out, right? That
would be great.
Nice and simple. it's a way to eliminate Cena. It's a way to eliminate The Undertaker, but they still feel like a big deal. I actually do believe if you do Cena and Undertaker at WrestleMania 34, you can have that match as your proper main event, and then when Roman Reigns wins the Universal title, you won't get as many boos because it's not closing the show. I've thought this out. So that's
a very good thought process.
And that's why I also think it's going to be Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. Because I don't believe that people backstage in WWE believe that AJ Styles versus Nakamura is a big enough match. However, if you put Randy Orton in there, that will appease them because they'll be like, oh, good, our guy's in there.
Yeah, that's very true.
And I'm all right with that. I actually think on paper that's a very good match. And I think with a third person, you can actually come up with some cool spots. So I'm all right with that as well. And if you do all of that, I actually think you have a nice little WrestleMania card because I imagine, other matches would be, I can see Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, maybe Daniel Bryan versus Shane McMahon if we're living in some crazy magical dream world. I guess it's going to be Jason Jordan versus Seth Rollins. I'm sure there'll be all these kind of things. And I think that's decent. I don't think necessarily Seth Rollins versus Jason Jordan is a good match, but I think we can get there. All the storylines are in place, and it means Raw 25 led into the Royal Rumble, led into Mania, and it's just a good time had by all.
That's perfect, so they won't do that.
Exactly. Tonight, Undertaker will come out and somehow win the Universal title. And for Pete's sake. And of course, the other thing is, and I actually think this is, I guess if The Rock's there, it makes it a lot easier because you can just have a standoff between these two. But my other worry for Raw 25 is, what do you do with this? Because Stone Cold Steve Austin needs his own segment. He just does.
Yeah.
He will get the biggest pop of the night. Well, him and The Rock will. We haven't seen him in a long time. So let's just argue The Rock isn't there. If The Rock is there, of course, put those two in the ring, give them 20 minutes, no one's going to complain. If The Rock is not there, though, do you just have Steve Austin come out and he just cuts a sort of generic promo or what?
I think they should have him drink a beer with Braun.
And then stun him?
Sure.
Is that not underlining your current biggest star in the company, though?
Okay, that's true. Maybe not have him stun.
Look, dude, I'd be all right with it, but...
That's true, actually. But, because I've seen a lot of people say that Braun is the equivalent of Austin, like the anti-authority doesn't really... It's not so much anti-authority, it's just he doesn't care. He's just like, I'm just going to do what I want because I can flip trucks.
Well, yeah. Maybe Austin could come in a truck.
Oh, that would be amazing.
And then Braun just flips it over, just comes out, rah, and flips it over. I think he needs... I either think he just needs, I don't know, time for himself. I just don't know. This is my only worry with having this many legends on it. When Austin comes back, I want it to mean something. And I'm sure I sound like a right wrestling nerd, but I do. I want it to...
No, that's true, yeah.
I think it's different with someone like Shawn Michaels. That's no disrespect, but he's come back a lot. I've seen him on NXT. So his, absence makes the hearts grow fonder, right? Presence on the show does take away a certain amount of something. So Michaels can kind of be there. I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever. But I don't get how they were going to work it all in. I really, really don't. I mean, book Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Austin feels special still, I guess. When you see him, you're like, oh, something big is going to happen.
Yeah.
At Mania 32, when he came back, it was like, oh my God, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I'm not going to lie, right? I was at that WrestleMania. I was very privileged to be there. And
wow.
when that, oh my gosh, I went nuts. I in my later years, I've become somewhat of a relaxed wrestling fan. I like to go just to enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, I literally popped out of my seat. I couldn't even control it. As soon as that glass broke, I was like, oh my God. And it was great. It was great. It's one of the best moments I've been a part of. And that's the thing. I imagine that will happen again. I guess you could argue, did I enjoy what he did the New Day there? I did. So maybe he can come out and just be a goof and it will be okay.
He could sing with Elias.
Dude, I could see it happening. He can get away with that stuff. He is very entertaining. So maybe they could. I mean, who else is on this damn show? I mean, I get people like Ric Flair and Sergeant Slaughter. I hate to say this because they are legends, but they are surplus to requirements. We can do whatever we want with them, and it's not going to make a big difference.
Do you think Brother Love and Undertaker will have a little thing?
I really hope not. I mean, they probably have to, right? Because I know it didn't start on Raw, but I don't know. To me, if they're both, maybe that's why he's on the show. You probably could do a little something. Where Undertaker looks at him all scary or something, and then Brother Love runs away. But what about the actual stuff sort of away from on the legends, though? I mean, you've got Miz, Roman Reigns. We're going to have to build to have some angle with Braun, Brock, and Kane. I mean, what do you want to see from all of that? I mean, you hyped for that main event? Where have you been on sort of the last few weeks of WWE programming?
I've thought Raw has been not exceptional, but really good recently.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed, like, Braun doing that grappling hook and just pulling down the thing.
So many people got mad at that.
Oh, I loved it.
I
It was
loved
great.
it. It's so stupid. I'm all about stupidity.
Yeah, exactly. It was like he's kind of he's like a cartoon.
I mean, he really is, and I actually think they've embraced that, and I think that's been, it's like anything. If you just invest and believe, you'll get it over. And I think ever since they decided, Braun can be over the top and ridiculous, that's why it's worked.
Yeah, definitely. And like with Kane, I understand why Kane is in that match. It's like he's got to get votes for his mayoral.
I never thought about it like that, but yeah, he does.
But he's probably in there to eat the pin. So it protects whoever. If it's Brock pinning Kane, it protects Strowman. If it's Strowman pinning Kane, it protects Brock. I think it'll be good. If Brock is motivated for it, it could be great.
Yeah.
I'd love Strowman to win so badly, but I don't think they will.
Yeah.
I don't think they will. I think they'll do a thing where Strowman somehow gets eliminated from the match, either like put through a table, and then Brock hits an F5 on Kane and pins him.
I can see that happening, and I think that. I mean, the only reason I can't see Braun Strowman winning is just because I think WWE have done such. They basically spent 2017 building Brock up. To be defeated by Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
To call an audible now to me seems strange, to say the least.
Yeah.
And I don't. People don't agree with this. I don't necessarily think that Braun needs the title at the moment. He doesn't feel like he's lacking without the title. I'm sure it would add to his character, but I don't think it's holding him back.
That's true. He still feels the biggest part of Raw.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually think you could build up to his title win a lot better. I think you could, come up with a plan that lasts weeks, and you kind of feel that that win coming. This more, as we know, it is more of a matter of circumstance where WWE has changed their mind and now they're just trying to fill in the gaps.
Yes, that's very true.
But you did mention you think potentially Braun Strowman could win though. You think there's a small potential that it's not,
I think it's just my heart speaking instead of my head.
Yeah.
Because I would love to see him with the title. Because obviously, like I say, he's the biggest part of Raw. By that logic, he should be champion. Because logically, the biggest part of Raw should be the champion. And I do agree with you. I don't think he does need it. I just want to see him. I just want him to be standing, screaming Braun with the title in his hand.
I think you'll probably get it in 2018. I think there could be an argument to hold off of it as well. What about, because obviously I assume the main event is going to be The Miz versus Roman Reigns later. I mean, do you think do we take the title off Roman this evening and then we sort of let him, plow onto the Universal title at Mania, or do we,
I hope so.
What do we do?
So when Roman got the Intercontinental title, I was worried it was going to be like his US title reign.
Yeah.
That it was just going to be, he clearly doesn't care. It's just not great. But I've actually really enjoyed his reign.
Oh, really?
Well, actually, that's putting it maybe too positive. I've just thought the quality of matches, like I really did like his match with Elias. It surprised me. His match with Joe was amazing.
Yeah.
And those two matches on their own were pretty much more memorable than I can't remember anything he really did with the US title.
You know what? I remember him holding it, and that's about it. I can't even think of one little thing that he did.
However, I think the Miz needs that. Well, I actually think the title needs Miz more than Miz needs a title, because Miz could be Universal Champion at this stage. Yeah. I love him.
Oh, really? That's interesting. What is it? Because I mean, I think a lot of people he's won them over, but I wouldn't necessarily say they love him. So what is it about that you love?
I don't know. So, but I was one of the people who were like, "Oh, it's just kind of Miz. I don't really care." But then I think it's just his promo work. Like, I don't think his in-ring work is anything brilliant, but I think his character, he is his character, basically. Yeah. No, and he just believes it.
I totally agree. And he doesn't hold back either.
Yes, exactly. And you can tell he's quite impassioned. Like, he knows what he can do with that belt, and he's made that title. Like, his feud, and now 18 months ago with Dolph over on SmackDown was fantastic.
my brain was like, oh yeah, of course, that was when Dolph was going to give up his career, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that
yes.
was really good. I actually think that's what lit a fire under his ass. And then obviously we had that strange switch to Raw, which at the time everyone was a bit like, that's weird. But actually, as The Miz seems to kind of always do these days, he just made it his own, and he made it work.
Yes, that's very true.
Do you think he wins it back tonight? Then I mean, who would you if put a gun to your head, who walks away as IC champion later?
I think Miz, but not clean.
Mr. Raj?
Yes.
Well, it works, right? It's an easy out, but
yeah.
I think that it's something that probably benefits everyone going forward. And there must be a reason they're doing it before the Royal Rumble, right? I mean, that's
what I'm thinking. Yeah, because if they weren't going to do anything, they would have just waited 6 days.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it must have something to do with Reigns and maybe even Miz in the Rumble. I don't know. I mean, it's
oh, that's true.
Maybe they've got some plan. And obviously, we have to have some kind of build to the Women's Royal Rumble tonight as well. Because we've got people like Trish Stratus is there, Tori Wilson, Jacqueline, Terry Reynolds, all these people. I mean, I'd imagine some of them are going to be in the Royal Rumble. Just in general, what's your thoughts on the Women's Royal Rumble? Who do you think is going to win? Are you excited about it? Some people do not like the fact there's a Women's Royal Rumble. If you want to go down that path, you go nuts. I mean, it's up to you. So.
I love it.
Yeah.
Sorry that I'm not controversial.
No, dude, I'm with you, man. I think if you can do it for the men, why can't you do it for the women? My only thing is, I think, and they'll never do this, but in my dream world, they would pick one. So you'd either have a Women's Royal Rumble and a Men's Royal Rumble, and then I just think 2 Royal Rumbles is too much. That doesn't mean I don't think we should have a women's one, but I'd be happy to give up the men's one every now and then. Sometimes we all watch that Men's Royal Rumble and go, that was shit. So surely,
that's so true.
Surely if we held it off a little bit longer, that may actually make us want to see it a bit more. I've always thought, but no, I'll tell you right now, nobody agrees with that. Every time I bring up that point, what? But it's still a Royal Rumble. What difference does it make? But that's my only thing. It's just having 2 Royal Rumbles on one card to me is a lot. So I think we should have picked and choose. But
because you also have to dedicate at least like an hour for each match.
Yeah, so 2 hours of that show. It's a 4-hour show. 2 hours minimum. It is 2 Royal Rumbles. I mean, it's up to the WWE to ensure that they book it so differently that it doesn't matter. But, that's on them. And if they can do that, I think everything will be fine. But that's a hard thing to do. Like, there's only so many things you can do. And that ties into my own personal prediction, which is I do believe that Ronda Rousey will win it, just because then I think that does negate any problems you may have. Because, if Ronda Rousey wins, it's such a big event. And it's such a thing. And if you do start off the show with the Women's Royal Rumble, which I think you probably have to start off one of the 2 Royal Rumbles, one of the show with the 2 Rumbles, I just think doing that will leave the Women's Royal Rumble in such a unique place that it won't even matter what else you do.
That is very true. I really hope Ronda doesn't win it though.
Why? Go nuts and tell me why. Because I think it's the best thing they can do, but a lot of people agree with you.
I personally just think the first winner of the Women's Royal Rumble should be someone who's been through the women's division, who's like maybe not experienced the like levels that Trish and Lita did, where they were the only 2 things amongst like bra and panty matches and stuff like that. But like, so I would love it if Becky won it.
Yeah.
Just because Becky's my favorite woman ever.
Really?
First of all, yeah, I love Becky Lynch. I am like, I've never gravitated. I think she's the most likable woman they've ever had, apart from maybe Lita.
Okay, wow, dude, that's high praise indeed.
Yeah, it's very high. I think like she's also just quite believable. I think Charlotte is probably the best women's wrestler ever.
I agree with you. I think with that, yeah.
But I just I just really like Becky. I just want her to win.
If she wins, though, what does she go on to WrestleMania? Does she lose her shot? I mean, what does she do?
I'd like face Charlotte versus heel Becky at Mania.
Okay, so it's a SmackDown Women's title, and you think that starts at the Royal Rumble?
I think because I don't know if Charlotte's going to. Is there a women's title match at the Rumble?
I don't believe. No, they're not, because Asuka and Nia Jax are all in the Rumble. I think Alexa Bliss is going to be in the Rumble as well. That's my secret prediction. But trying to save her own title kind of a thing. But no, there is no. I think the matches are 2 Royal Rumbles, World Title match, Universal Title match, and 2 tag team title matches. That's it. That's the matches. Yeah. Obviously, we've sorted the US title situation out. So.
Oh yeah, that's true, because they were going to have that there.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it, 6 matches. And I kind of understand why, in the sense that they've got 2 massive Royal Rumbles to try and fit.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, so it's literally the women are just all going to be on the Raw, unless they announce something either on Raw or SmackDown, but I don't think they will do.
That's true. So I think they could do something where like Charlotte's dominating, then Becky throws her out, and then that could just be Becky could just be, well, it's every woman for herself, and then that's a slow burn to the Mania where she like maybe I don't even know what the February and like March pay-per-views are for each brand.
Sorry again, man?
So I don't know, because obviously there won't be a pay-per-view in March because they always have like a month. But is it a Raw or SmackDown pay-per-view in February?
That's a Raw one. That's the Elimination Chamber. That's also why I think that Fastlane, whatever they call it. But that's why I think that Roman Reigns won't win the Rumble, because then he can do Elimination Chamber, whatever there. He can then get his shot against Universal Champion Lesnar, and onwards we go to the races. Which is why
you have very good story ideas.
And they never do it. They never do it. I say this every week on my videos, and no one ever listens to me. But yeah, that's why I think they'll go in that direction.
That's a good point.
But if you do that with the girls on SmackDown, what do you do? Do you want Ronda Rousey to come in for Mania, or do you want something different entirely?
I am more than okay with Ronda Rousey being. I actually think it would be really good to have Ronda, because it'll draw massive attention.
Yeah.
I think it would. If Ronda is in the Rumble, I think they could do a thing where Ronda just comes out and dominates, and then they really big up the fact where it's like no one can stop her, and then Shayna Baszler comes out.
I mean, if you know that story, that's a pretty good story to tell.
Yeah, I think that would be really good. And then they could maybe even do that at Mania.
What, Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler?
Yeah, however, that could annoy a lot of people.
100% will annoy a lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, well, honestly, what I would like to see, I'd like Ronda Rousey to win the Rumble. I'd like it then to be Ronda Rousey versus either Asuka or Charlotte at Mania, and I think Ronda Rousey should then lose. That's what I think should happen. I don't think they will do that, because, when was the last time a celebrity ever lost on WWE TV? However, that is what I would do, because I think that then serves everybody. Ronda Rousey gets the headlines. It's not like she got jobbed out. She's always... Who won the first ever Women's Royal Rumble? Ronda Rousey. However, you can then use all the mainstream appeal and power she has to put over... everyone says it'll be Asuka. I can't believe that, just because I think they want Charlotte to have that rub, because, she's homegrown and all that kind of stuff. But if you do that, she has that forever, and you can never take that away. And I think that means so much to WWE that... Yeah, that's the direction they would go in. But in
fairness, that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. In fairness,
I do see what you're saying, though. All this build up to the first ever Women's Rumble, and then it's won by an MMA superstar. I can completely understand why people would be like, "What?" But at the same time, I can understand why they would, just because of the reaction that it will get, the news headlines it will get, and the just sheer power that every time people talk about that first one, they can also mention, that it was. Ronda Rousey, who is a megastar.
It's from a business standpoint, it is probably the best thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think. That's how I see it too. Before we do start wrapping things up as well, I've got the Raw 25 poster up here as well. Now, the front line of people goes as thus. We have Ted DiBiase, $1 Million Man. I mean, he's going to be involved in a backstage skit.
Yeah.
Ric Flair, who, bless you, Ric Flair, but you have been photoshopped to organise.
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous.
Backstage skit. Roman Reigns, obviously, we know is going with The Miz. Stone Cold Steve Austin up for debate. And then John Cena and Undertaker are front and centre next to each other. Then it's Kurt Angle from 10 years ago. Seth Rollins and Mark Henry, who had a go at me on Twitter this week. Mark Henry, he sent he sent me a tweet telling me to stop my lies, which made me laugh. It was just a joke, Mark. It was a joke, Mark. I was joking in a video. It wasn't serious. Other than that, though, I think everybody else here, the Bella Twins are there. Obviously, Daniel Bryan's there. Usual Raw and SmackDown faces. Hilariously, Kalisto somehow gets in, and they're at the top left. Stephanie McMahon, AJ Styles, Nia Jax, Asuka. I mean, it's all this. There's no one there that's really a surprise. Like the New Age Outlaws, Shawn Michaels, X-Pac, Scott Hall. Obviously, Kevin Nash had to pull out because he's got a knee replacement or something like that. So, I mean, Jeff Hardy's on the poster. That could be interesting. I don't know if we start a Brother Nero thing this evening.
I saw him. Matt did a video where he said he was very, very woken. He said that Brother Nero's shoulder is getting better and better by the day, and that he will be here tonight for an announcement.
Well, I'd take that. If we go full on with the Woken universe tonight at Raw 25,
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't be upset. I mean, what's your how have you been finding that at the moment? Did you like it before? Were you a TNA Matt Hardy fan?
So I hadn't watched any TNA, but I made a point of watching all Broken stuff
At the time or in retrospect?
at the time as well.
Oh, really? So you went out of your way to see it, yeah.
So I watched the Final Deletion, and I kind of seemed to be, at that time, in the minority. I just liked how silly it was.
Yeah.
And then as it went on and it started to get more appreciated, and then kind of ideas got even bigger, I just loved it so much.
Oh, dude, I'm with you, man. I mean, absolutely mental, but in the best possible way.
Yeah.
I thought it was tremendous. So, you know, and I know I did a video for What Culture today. Again, people seem to forget they're all supposed to be devil's advocate videos. I think he's going to do fine. For WWE. I just, you know, they need to be doing more. I'm sure they will, but you know, it's just one of those things. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean, I even just looked at the Raw preview right now. They are very, very, very light on information, aside from the Miz and Roman Reigns and the fact there's going to be loads of legends on the show. However, I do think it's going to be a really good show, and I am looking forward to it.
Yes, definitely.
It will probably be better than the Rumble, if we're completely
honest. That's probably true.
And I think Secret People, The Rock. Maybe Punk. But I can't think of anybody else. I genuinely cannot think of anybody else that could bring. Goldberg, maybe he could be a surprise.
Oh, true.
But I think you could announce him. You know, he's had his surprise comeback. I don't see why you'd need to. But maybe I don't know. Maybe he comes out. Maybe he comes out and spears Kurt Hawkins. Who knows?
Sure.
Why not? Why not? So, I mean, please do tune back in tomorrow where we will review Raw and then we will review SmackDown on Wednesday. And then before the end of it, we'll preview the Raw Rumble. So there is loads of Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling podcast going up before the end of the week. Daniel, before we let you go, of course, we've got to ask you the standard question. What is your favourite wrestling match of all time? And it doesn't have to be like your favourite, but just one that stands out to you in your head.
Well, I was going to be cliche and say Undertaker, Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25, but I'm not.
Okay, good. Good for you. You go nuts.
I'm going to say Sami Zayn versus Neville at TakeOver when Zayn won the title.
Wow, that is a niche choice. I like it.
Yes.
Why so? Why that much?
Because, again, so Sami Zayn is my favourite wrestler currently.
Yeah.
And has been since about 2014 when NXT started. And just that story of he had never won it, he'd got so close. And then the bit where he could have cheated to win, but then he decided not to, and just before he goes for the Helluva Kick, he runs his hand across his face and sets himself. And it's one of the few times I have, like you said, with Austin, I just completely exploded out my seat, and it was brilliant. And then Kevin Owens turned heel at the end, and it was just perfect.
Hey man, that is the way you make somebody and carry on a story all in one night, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolute genius. Well, Daniel, again, I want to thank you very much for all your support on the Patreon. It genuinely means the world to me. I say this to everybody, but it's true. Anytime I get that notification and even someone's put $1 in there, it humbles the crap out of me because I think, well, someone's taken their hard-earned money and they're allowing me to do my nonsense. So thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for being the most positive person, in wrestling.
It's my pleasure, man. I mean, it was one of those things where, when I started doing all that stuff, I mean, I'm a positive guy anyway, of course, but I did look around and I thought, right, I got to do something to differentiate myself because wrestling on the internet is, it's just crazy. And I thought to myself, well, Simon, if you just talk how you talk to everybody else, I don't think there's going to be a problem because everyone else is so mad. And they're so fed up. So I thought, okay, well, I'm not mad or fed up, so I'll just take that tract, will I? So, but boy,
it's worked very well.
Oh, I'm glad. Thank you, man. It winds a lot of people up.
That's true.
That's true. The funny thing I find funny is I get WWE shill thrown at me a lot, and yet I've been told by certain people that WWE think I'm an absolute wanker. So,
that's brilliant.
I like that.
Fantastic.
I've somehow managed to be hated by both sides, which I think is absolutely hilarious. But dude, no, thank you very much. Definitely stay in touch. Let me know what you think about Raw 25.
Absolutely.
And we'll have to do this again down the road, as wrestlers would say.
Definitely.
Excellent.
Definitely.
Well, if you've listened to the Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling podcast, thank you very much for downloading this. Thank you very much for letting me talk to you for the last 45, 50 minutes or whatever it's been. And again, Raw review tomorrow, SmackDown review Wednesday. Raw Rumble prediction show before the Raw Rumble, so it may even drop on Sunday, depending on when I feel like I've got all the information to start doing that. Also, keep an eye up on What Culture Wrestling, because there is a predictions video going up on there, if you prefer to see me ranting at your face. If you are watching this one on YouTube, again, we have a guest on. It's quite hard to film it, because that would just
Yes.
look weird. So he's just going to get the logo. That would be. I haven't got the patience. That's to be completely honest. I'm on Twitter at Simon316. Make sure you join the Facebook group. Just search Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Podcast. We're going to do a Q&A episode again soon. All the questions will come from that Facebook group. And yeah, I mean, that's it, Daniel. I hope you enjoy the week building up to the Royal Rumble.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. And we will see if your predictions come true.
That's true.
Okay. Take care, everybody. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.